starts in the mouth. And most of the dental practices that have been normalized are really bad for human health. So all of your teeth are tied to different organs in the body. And when we pull teeth out of our mouth, that we're actually disconnecting the mouth from that organ.
Oh.
So yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Oral health's key. It's key.
7 o'clock. We're gonna get started on the dot to respect ourselves and everyone else and time. Welcome, everyone. It's good to see you all for another Mindset Saturday. Good to see you all every week. It's always good to come back and remember, remind, and reason together that we continue to grow and apply and learn all the things that we're learning and to live the way we choose, consciously, purposely, right? We're always living the way we choose. We do it here purposely, right? So we actually realize we're choosing, right? So we're not blindly choosing. The 3-year-old at the vending machine. All right, so we're going to get started right into it. So question, I'll let you guys decide. Do you want to see the 2 little shorts first, or do you want to get into some definition of words?
The definitions so I can let people in.
Okay, all right, so we'll do the definitions of words first. Okay. First one, welcome to Saturday.
ID 10T.
Idiot. Idiot. What does this word mean?
I'm gonna jump out and say, I know that there's the ego and the id. So I'm assuming that id has something to do with this because the root word may be id. Is that close?
No. Yes, sir. That's it.
Right.
Okay, no, that's awesome. Okay, that. What else? Who else? We need at least 3.
Good morning, family. So, idiot. I do it over and over again.
I do it
Over and over.
over and over again. Idiot. Okay. Okay. That's your definite. Okay. What's another one? Who else we got? Idiot.
Dunce.
Okay. This word was originally applied to anyone who was not a politician. This word was originally applied to anyone who was not using their intellect or their skill for public affairs to contribute to the public. So if you kept even if you were intelligent and you kept your affairs private, they called you an idiot, right? It did not mean then what it means now, right? The connotation, but the actual denotation just meant that you withheld your intelligence or your skills. Withholding those from society was offensive, essentially. It used to be honorable to be a politician or to be a philosopher or to be someone who contributed their skills, their wisdom, their intellect, whatever part of themselves for the betterment of society. I know a lot of these words are confusing because when you think about America, a lot of these are not necessarily American morals or ethics necessarily. But if you look back in older countries, if you look in Greece and Rome, and you look in countries in Africa, and you look in countries in so-called quote unquote the Middle East, people understood that everyone had a role to play and an effect on and in society. So a politician was someone who used their skills or their intellect to enhance the public, for the public good. Anyone who either didn't have those skills or withheld them, kept them private, was called an idiot. That's what that word actually means. Okay. Boycott. Boycott.
This is actually named after somebody. That was their last name, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that is correct. That is absolutely correct. And what about this person? How did this name come about? Or how did this term come about?
I don't remember this part, but I'm assuming they did to him what we turned the name into. He was doing something and they decided to avoid this guy, and his name ended up being the term boycott.
That is absolutely correct. The person's name was Charles Boycott, Charles C. Boycott. He was an Englishman that owned property and land in Ireland. And he was notorious for having incredibly high rent, right? He was charging everybody crazy rent. And so the people of that land and of that part of the country decided to boycott him. Essentially, they decided not to rent from him. And that's where the term boycott came from. They decided not to rent from him because his rents were just too high. He was an Englishman in Ireland. That's where that term now comes from. Absolutely correct. Absolutely.
I had to make up for that first failure that you got me on. Come back.
Hey man, I got a couple. I'm coming for everybody one way or another. Oh yeah, here's one. Oxymoron. Oxymoron. All right, what are we thinking? The other kids in the class have to participate too. Yeah, it's not the same people going over and over. Everybody, yeah, go ahead, do it again. What you think?
Come on, Kahari.
Yeah, Kari's down here. Yep. Veronica, what about you?
Me, Veronica.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm looking right at you.
Oxymoron. Yeah, I'm not for sure.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. I want everybody who comes to participate, even if you don't know, even if you just say, I don't know. But here, the only way we can learn, the only way people learn is by participating. How do you get a driver's license if you don't drive? How do you get to be a parent if you don't participate? Like, how do you, right? So a lot of times in this country, especially because we're so wealthy as a country, so to speak, that we can afford stupidity. And we can afford illness. We can afford things in this country that other places you couldn't afford. Can't afford to be stupid in Vietnam. They don't have junior college. You don't get another chance after high school. China, you don't get another chance. Why do you think so many people migrate here and immigrate here? Because they realize, hey, a lot of these options that they're just giving away in America, we don't have at all. And so what happens is all the kids in this country come to class, sit down and say, tell me what you got. And then when is it time to go? So they're leaning in the chair, sleep, headphones on, coming late, leaving early, no notes, no backpack, stuff like that. And then they wonder why, like we talked about last week, they dull their own efficiency. They're now a liability when they come to your job. They're a liability when they come to your business, and they wonder why nobody wants to hire them. But all of us, unfortunately, in a lot of ways, learn that way. So we learn to just come and sit down and be dictated to. That's what part of the root word education comes from, dictation. It means to sit down and be spoken to. And just take notes on what someone is telling you. But that's like renting the information. It doesn't make you an owner. You have to participate if you want to make that information become your own, where you can live on it. I think I said this before when I went to the college prep high school I went to, the teacher said, look, if you don't get an 80% in this class, you don't pass. It's 80 or up. We all threw a fit. Why? Because he said, if you don't know at least 80% of this information, you can't use it well enough to live on it. You just know of it, but you don't know it. I know of Michael Jordan, but I can't call him. I can't be like, hey man, how you doing? Or hey, can I have a couple of bucks? I can't do anything. I can't shame, beg. I can't do anything to the dude. I can't call him. I can't, right? So just because I know of him doesn't mean I know him. Just because we know of something doesn't mean we know it. And if we don't know it, we can't use it. So then just hearing about it doesn't really do us much better than the person who didn't. So that's why I make sure all of us participate, even if it's just, I don't know. That's okay. But sitting up here in class and just coming in and just hoping nobody see you. No, I see everybody. I'm watching everybody. Okay, oxymoron. So that's one. Who else we got?
Two terms that contradict each other.
Yes. Okay. Who else?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna say the same. I know the
I
modern
don't know
definition,
either,
but I know that's not what you want.
Okay. That's right. That's right. All right. And then somebody else said something?
See, makes me think about that pimple cream.
It is the word oxymoron is actually an oxymoron in and of itself. Right? The word oxy means sharp. And the word moron means dull. So the actual word means sharp and dull at the same time as an oxymoron in and of itself. Sharp and dull, right? It's an actual oxymoron in and of itself, right? I thought that'd be a nice little trickeration, get us going.
So oxymoron is an oxymoron? Is that how we say that?
That's correct. That's actually correct. The actual word oxymoron is, the definition of it is actually an oxymoron itself. Absolutely.
So he tried to trick us by using the word and making us think we don't know what it means.
Yeah. That's it. Okay.
Like jumbo shrimp. Yeah.
Now the the Nakam.
I have no idea.
Yeah, just simply based on the fact it has the in front of it, I don't think we're gonna know what it is.
Cool. That's two. Wonderful. One more.
Don't know, coach.
I don't know.
Cool. Okay, the Nakam. Also known as Avengers. Who were the Avengers? Who were the original Avengers? Anybody
The
know?
disciples. Say the disciples.
Hey man, that's true. That's yeah.
They were Jews.
Say it again.
They were Jews in the Nazi. I'm sorry. Good morning, everybody. They are Jews during the Nazi war and WW2. I mean World War II. Yeah.
That is partially correct. That is correct. That is part of the correctness. Yes. So the Nakam, the Avengers, were Jewish assassins. They were Jewish assassins who went to basically find and assassinate Nazi war criminals, those who didn't get prosecuted or caught. So they went around trying to find all these people. They were out there, Jason Bourne and everybody.
Okay.
They were out there going after everybody. They actually also, so this was from after World War II, from 1945 to 1950. So they were running around doing this from 1945 to 1950. They actually were able to poison almost 2,300 German prisoners of war in an internment camp that they got caught in, and they poisoned almost 2,300 of them. To them, unfortunately, none of them died from it, but they tried, and they did poison them all, but none of them ended up dying. But that was basically what they were. These were assassins. These were Jewish assassins who were going after all the Nazi war criminals who didn't get caught or they were not prosecuted. And this went on for a good 5-6 years. And the founder of this, what was his name? Koven? Father Koven, Abba means father in Jewish, he eventually got caught and he was acquitted. He eventually got caught and was acquitted. Essentially, people are like, I wouldn't do it, but I understand. So they let him off. I wouldn't do it, like Chris Walk said, I wouldn't do it, but I understand. But I understand, right? Like that. That's essentially how we got off. Yeah, that's essentially how we got off. So these were, I'm not saying the movie or the characters were named after this, but these were the first actual Avengers. These were actually what they were called, the Avengers. So that's them right there. All right. Let's see. Oh, and does everybody know what the word assassin means? Anybody else?
You want modern or original?
Original. Always, because the original always counts. The modern could or not, but the original always counts. Right?
I do not know.
Okay. That's two. No. So assassin, basically, in the religious crusades, the Muslims were obviously not going for it, trying to be overtaken by Christianity. So they basically had a sect that would go out and kill the religious crusaders who were trying to convert them into Christianity. And almost the Japanese, like the kamikaze, these people were designed to kill or be killed. But what the reason they're called assassins is because they would smoke or eat hashish before they went on their missions. So originally they were called hashashins. That's actually where the word assassin comes from. Hashashin. It means someone, it's an Arabic word which means to consume, like to eat or smoke hashish. Okay. And so hashashins were basically assassins under the influence of hashish before they went out. They would eat or smoke that before they went out to kill religion in the holy wars, essentially, to kill the Christian crusaders who were trying to convert them. That's basically what it was. That's also where a lot of people, that's where opera came from. Opera came from Rome. It was a Roman thing where they would play this music to basically get people to transform their mental state. It would basically get them on one. It would just get them in a state of almost rage. It would raise their intensity before they went out to war. That's how opera actually started. That's it. So they would basically have people singing to these soldiers before they went out and get them in a mental state to prepare for battle. That's where opera originated from. A lot of these things are just the mental states they get people in before they do whatever it is they have to do. Some of that is music, some of that are drugs, so to speak. Some of those are whatever else it is. There's a lot of different ways to stimulate the body and stimulate the mind, and stuff like that, right? So, yes.
Amanda said, I'm going online now. It says the 16th century, the word was originally a derogatory nickname with reference to the supposedly erratic behavior of the members of the sect as they were intoxicated by hashish. Right.
So it's basically saying someone who was killing under the influence of hashish. That's why they were called a hashashi.
That would be an oxymoron, right? Because isn't hashish weed, or not necessarily, right?
A lot of things then are not what they are now, right? Just like when people think they're eating tofu here, it's not the same tofu as they have in Japan. Just like people think they're drinking kombucha, it's not the same thing. Kombucha is a tea, it's not an acidic thing that they're selling in Whole Foods, right? People don't realize what we call something here is not actually what it is in its origin or original place of ingestion, right? Or of interaction. So a lot of things, when we talk about one word, or one name, we're talking about two different realities or experiences, two different type of interactions. They're not the same thing, actually. When you say tofu here, it's not the same thing as they're talking about in Japan. Or when you say kombucha, they're not drinking that stuff in a bottle with bubbles in it and things like that from Whole Foods. That's not kombucha. They tell you that is some trash. That's not kombucha. But we're talking about two different things, even though we're using the same.
Okay, because I was going to say, like,
the whole thing is that it doesn't matter whether it's opera, that's why if you look at a lot of churches, especially old churches, they have organs and stuff like that. They play music because one, it's healing, and also two, music gets your mind going. Right. So really it's any way to transfer or to transform your state of consciousness from where you are to where you want it to be. And there's several different ways to do that. You can do it through music, you can do it through drugs, you can do it through 1,000 different things. And so different people use different things depending on what they knew, where they were, and all the other stuff. And depending on who they were talking to, what they were trying to get them to do. Stuff like that. It's meditation. There's a lot of different ways to transform your mental state from where you are currently to go up, go down, go right, go left, stuff like that. So people are using a variety of things, but that's what that's for. All right.
So as we evolve and advance, hashish is today criminal. And now we use drugs to get the mindset of the military to go to war. But we've advanced.
I would argue that we've devolved in a lot of ways. I would
agree.
Right. I think because we're constantly expanding our consciousness, we are getting access to, everything already exists, like we always talk about. But what we're actually getting access to is that which exists, but as our consciousness grows and our mind expands individually and collectively, I got an idea, then you have an idea, then we have an idea. And we start having a different understanding of what is available or how to use what is available. So what's available has always been, and however we come across using this thing differently or in a new way was always possible. We just didn't have the awareness of that, right? Whatever hash is what it is and what it's always been and what it'll always be in its original form, right? But as we become more conscious and aware, we start finding different ways to use whatever it is, right? Because our awareness grows, but the thing itself has always been what it is. It's not a new thing. It doesn't have a new ability. We just know how to use it differently for different things. So our consciousness is growing, but it's almost like giving kids now all this technology. So they have access to more things, but they're not actually better prepared to use it. So now you have so many kids who can't read, can't write, have no attention span, are nearsighted, right? Because they're looking at things so close in front of their face that they are deteriorating their ocular muscle to be able to see further distances, because they're not using that part of their eye enough, because everything is right in front of them so much more, right? Things like that. So while we're having more opportunities and more options, we actually are losing or not using the baseline fundamentals, which we would call wisdom, right? A lot of us, of our our grandparents or great grandparents, if you actually look at them and things like that, a lot of them didn't go to college. A lot of them weren't necessarily formally educated, but shoot, they were property owners more than most of us are, right? They had ways of keeping themselves healthy, ways of keeping money coming in, ways of raising kids, of having kids, and all these different things that we would think an education or formal education would do or necessitate, but it didn't. So back then they had more wisdom as far as just understanding the truth about something and how to work with something. Where now we have a lot of intelligence, we have access to a lot of information, but not necessarily the skills and the wisdom to know how to use it properly. So that's why I say in a lot of ways, I think we've devolved in a lot of ways. That's my take on it, right? But yeah, absolutely. Okay, will you pull those videos up now? Will that work? Okay. Okay, all right. So these, we'll play these back to back, and just if you have a little thought on it, write it down on the side or whatever else it is, but this will be the last thing before we get into it, but just always want you to see something, hear something. So think about it. All right, here we go, whenever she's ready.
If a person would sit down and let their...
You need to bring it to the active speaker. It's still showing you, Coach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Coach, I think you might be pinned. So Vedder, I think you might have to unpin. There you go. All right.
Their body relax, totally relax. Okay. And then start to visualize.
Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
In their mind.
When this waitress had to bring 13 beers to one table, she told everyone she could do it in one trip without bringing a tray, and no one believed it, not knowing how that could even be possible. So the bartender poured them all and then slid them over to her as she got them all together, lining them around in a circle. But then she did something unexpected. She took a group of them and stacked it on top of the other one, with everyone watching without knowing how she was going to be able to do this. And to make it 13, she put the final one on the very top and somehow lifted them all to bring to her customers without spilling a drop. When this waitress had to bring 13 beers to one table, she told...
You ain't gonna show us
Who's your childhood celebrity crush?
Kim Field.
Person you trade places with.
The human body replaces 98% of all the atoms in 1 year. You make a new liver every 6 weeks, a new skin once a month. In less than a year, you replace your entire body down to the last atom, which means that right now what you're seeing is my 1993 model. And the body I had last year is gone.
Which means that you really could cure yourself of whatever.
If I knew how to influence the software. This is the printout. The hardware is my brain. The software is all those chemicals we were speaking about. And then there's a programming. It's my thoughts, feelings, emotions, and desires. But where's the programmer? It's the spirit. It's that silent space between the thoughts. The human body replaces 98%.
I know a lot of it goes pretty fast. They're shorts, but they're just examples of a couple of things I want to talk about. So the first one with the beer, right? I use any example necessary to get a point across. So when we heard that she was going to carry 13 beers to the table by herself on one trip, what was everyone's initial thought?
Sounds impossible, but because it's on this type of video, we're gonna see her do it somehow.
Okay.
I thought they was gonna come. I thought the people was going, or she was gonna have somebody else come grab it and take it, so she could say she did it in one trip.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be on a platter or a tray to carry them on.
Anyone else want to say anything before? Okay, so now did anybody think she would stack it?
No.
Did that even cross your mind? Would you have stacked it?
No.
I don't know if that would have crossed my mind. If I did, maybe I would have tried it, but I never, when I saw that, I was like, wow. Because it never would have crossed my mind, or I don't think it would have, but maybe, who knows, but I would have never thought that. And for her to do that in one trip, right? So what is that? What did you get from that? What did that tell you?
There's always another way. Be creative.
Okay. Yeah, there's always another way to be creative. Why?
Because there's 50 ways to skin a cat.
Okay, why?
Because we are infinite in our ways and our thoughts. All we have to do is be able to reach out to those new ideas and bring them into reality.
Okay, because of
the power of our brain.
Yeah.
Imagine a possibility.
Okay. Who is imagining the possibility? Who is
I
skinning
am.
the cat? Right? Who is it that has more than one way to do that? Right? That's the I am you, right? You meaning separate from me and me meaning separate from you, right? You, because of who you are. You always have the ability to get it done. Any desire you have in your mind or in your heart that you want to achieve, you actually have the ability to get it done. That's what that video represented to me. Wow. Even if it's something as seemingly either innocuous or unimportant, or maybe it was important to her, obviously, because it was her job. But the point is, even over some beers, like some beer, you actually have the intelligence, the omniscience in you, the all-knowing in you to solve any problem. It's not a problem to omniscience. It's all-knowing. It's only a problem when you don't have the answer. It's not a problem when you have the answer. It's only a question, right? When you have the answer, it's not a problem. And in you are all the answers. You are the skinner of the cat. You are the thinker. You are the dreamer. You are the doer. And because of who you are, all things are possible. That is what that video represented, at least to me. Is to get you to realize, hey, the answer is always in you. There's always a way to do it because of who you are. And when you realize who you are, you'll start thinking as that. You know what? Let's just say my human me doesn't know, but I know I'm bigger than that. So let me just stop asking that part of myself. Let me go to another part. Let me ask somebody else. Let me go to another part of myself, because I know that's where all the answers are, for sure. When you start going to that part of yourself, right? When you have clothes, you can't wear them all. That's the benefit of a closet. So our human mind is like the clothes we have on. It's like the body that the clothes are on. Everything is not designed to be right there, right? But your subconscious mind, that other part of your mind, is the closet. That's where you can go to get the answers or to get the garments that you want to wear. Because if you try to wear them all at once, you couldn't move. If you try to think everything all at once, you had no place to store information that's relevant or not, or current or not, right? Necessary or not, you'd go insane. So that part of your mind has all the answers, just like your closet, but you just have to learn how to access it and consciously go to it to say, oh, my jacket's in there, right? The answer in here, the answer to do that is in here. Let me go there to get it. It's not that you don't have it. You just don't have it on, but you still have it. It's still a part of you, just like that closet's a part of your house, just like all those clothes are still yours. The answer is still yours. The part of your mind, that closet, is still there, and you still have access to it. We just have to consciously remember to always access it. Doesn't mean because it's not in our consciousness right now, our conscious mind, but the answer is still in a part of our consciousness, or what we call our subconscious mind, our higher mind, right? So that was one. Second, what do we think about the second video when he talked about all of our cells replacing cumulatively, our body replacing, and less? What do we think about that? What does that make you think?
The confirmation that we are ever evolving.
We can heal ourselves. We can do anything. Our bodies were, upon birth, like our bodies were designed to heal and fix everything ourselves. It's not outside of us. Everything is inside of us.
Okay.
I feel even though we're generating new, it's still generating based off of what we're eating, what we're doing, and who we think we are, which is why even though it's generating new things, you're still getting the same result in your body. So you might go for those 7 years and you're still the same person, even with these new parts, but what you've been eating, your habits, what you've been thinking, how you've been doing, those have been the same. So it's manifesting the same result.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Anyone else? That's absolutely correct. How can you have the same liver problem year after year and you get a new one that frequently? How can you have the same skin problem and you have new skin? How can you have the same hair problem and you have new hair? How can you have the same body problem and you have a new body? How, if you have a new body from top to bottom, how can you remain paralyzed? Actually think about if you have, it's either new or it's not. If you go to a car lot and they tell you this car is brand new and it's got 19,000 miles on it, you're gonna be like, stop the cab, right? Show me the Carfax, do something, right? No, it's either new or it's not. If you have a body that is literally from top to bottom, head to toe, in and out, inwardly and outwardly new, how can you have the same problems you had a year ago? How is that possible? But to Kari's point, to all of us in different ways, yes, it's true. It's because we're giving the same directives. The body is always doing it. It's always renewing itself. It's on autopilot, but it's always being directed. Okay, go over here, go over there. Like when somebody comes into your house and you have visitors, right? You may have 1,000 different visitors, but you're still the homeowner. So there's certain people you let in this part of your house, certain people you don't let in this part of the house, certain people you have sit here, you're always giving direction to the newness coming into you. And if you have the same mind, if you're the same person, if you're the same bad host, you're going to keep getting the same calamitous outcomes, right? You're going to be like house party and they break the toilet. Who messed up my mama's good silverware? My mama's good china. She's going to kill me. That type of thing. It's the host that's determining how all these guests, these visitors, these new people, these new cells and these new things are operating in the house. That's your mind giving direction according to what it believes it is. We're paralyzed. We're sick. We have cancer. We have liver failure. We have a kidney problem. We have this. We have that. And it will never change if you don't change your mind. Your body's always on autopilot. It's renewing whether you want to or not. Just like your heart is beating whether you want to or not, meaning it's on a different track. Subconsciously, it's not on a conscious track. You don't have to think for your heart to beat, right? But you can stop it from beating if you start thinking a certain way long enough. Because it's automatically, if you don't do anything to it, just like Sparkle Bailey said, then it will automatically regenerate and keep doing what it's doing. But it's only going to keep doing what it's doing if you either A, leave it alone, or B, don't mess it up. By thinking contrary, by asking it or getting it to do something different. Then you will have a heart attack. But the heart is beating naturally on its own without your help and largely without your interference is why it's really happening, because you're not in the way. But when we get in the way with all these other thoughts and ideas and beliefs and rituals and customs and traditions and all the other stuff, we get in the way. Then we get clogged arteries. Then we have a heart attack. Then we have all these different things, kidney failure, liver failure, all these different things, because we're failing. It's not failing. It's designed to keep reproducing after itself, but we are failing it. It's like calling a 5-year-old a failure, and you're looking at their parents, looking on social media all day, not paying attention to them and things like that. And you wonder, why is a kid out here fighting everybody, kicking all the kids on the block? Because the parent, the guardian, the guardian is not guiding or guarding. They're not doing anything. So it's going to run off. It's the same concept, same thing. So good. Those are two things that I want us to learn and remember. All right. So when this is maybe more almost like the beer example, but so today's class is called Start From There. Start from there. When you walk up, so let's think about just simple examples. When you walk up to an ATM machine, right? What's the first thing you have to do?
Your card.
Okay. When you
enter in a key passcode.
Yeah, your card. You can't do that without the card, right? So the first thing you do is your card. All right. When you walk up to, if you go into the bank and you sit down and you tell them you want to do something, what's the first thing they ask you for?
Your ID.
ID.
Okay. You sit down at your computer, and from last night and all of us woke up this morning, got on our computer. Assuming we all locked it or whatever else it is, what's the first thing you have to do?
Identify.
Password, identify. ID. Your password is essentially your ID, right? So one is a bank, right? One is a computer. And one is, let's say, what was the other one? Oh, like teller. Okay.
Yeah, ATM, bank, and
Bank.
Yeah, bank, ATM, yeah. Okay. Then let's say last one, when you go to the airport, right? And you're going through TSA, or when you first check in to the place to check your bag in and stuff like that, what do they ask you for?
Same.
Your ID. Okay. So if you're looking at all these different places, the airport, a computer, the bank, the ATM, the teller, they're all asking you for one thing. What is that essentially? Your ID, your identification. Who are you? Who are you? And according to who you are, that's what gets you access to anything beyond that. Whatever you are gives you access. Whatever you aren't, you stop right there. Is that true?
True.
If it's not, you don't get to go any further. Emotions, morals, ethics. My cousin is. Do you know who I am? Isn't so-and-so still working here? All that doesn't matter if your ID doesn't match, right? You banging on your keyboard, right? Yelling at the computer, rubbing the screen like, please, just tell me the password. Please, what is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? None of that matters without your ID, right? So ID is the initial port of entry or exclusion. Is that fair and true to say?
Yeah, that's what works.
Okay. So now we're back to the title of the class thing. Start there. Why? Everything starts there. So everything in your life starts with your what?
Who am I? Your ID.
Who am I? Your ID. Who am I? Who is I am believing itself to be? What is my identification? What is my idea of myself? Who, all of those are saying the same thing. Everything is starting there and ending there. That is, your ID is the alpha and the omega. It is the beginning and the end. It is the first and the last. It is the master of your fate and the captain of your ship. This is going to dictate what you do or don't do, have or don't have, period. Everything starts there. All your bright ideas, where you're going to sit on the computer, where you're going to sit on the plane, how much money you want to get from the teller, how much you're going to pull out from the ATM, what you're going to do with your computer, and what you're going to do when you get to the airport because you're hungry and you want to get some snacks. Without your ID, all of your good ideas and brilliant fantasies don't matter if your ID doesn't permit you access past that initial point. Does that make sense? Okay. I used a couple different places in life or things in life to show you that the ID part is the truth. It could be applied in different areas and aspects of life with people and places and things, circumstances and conditions. All of those are based on, governed by, succeeded in, or failed by your ID, by who you are in relation to this thing or who you aren't. If you don't have your ID, you could have $1 million in the bank and the teller or the ATM won't give it to you. You could go going to see your parents for their 50th wedding anniversary. If you don't have your ID, you're not getting on that plane. You could be sitting there getting ready to make the next, great app of all time. If you don't have your password to get on your computer, good luck with that. Everything starts there. So now, when you have let's just say, a problem. Let's just say you have a desire. Let's say you have a need. And let's just say you have a want. They're all the same area. No matter what this problem is, what this desire is, what this need is, or what this want is, they are all governed by your what?
Identity.
Your identity.
Idea of self.
Your
Right.
idea of self, your self-concept. So start there means, with all of these things, start there means what? What does start there mean then? In relation to any or all these things, doesn't matter. What does that mean then?
Start with self.
Okay. So let's say you have let's say you have a problem, desire, need, want. You start with self. Okay. So then what does that mean? You start with self. What does that mean now in action? What does that mean? When you say start with self, what does that mean?
For the first one, I would say, what does this problem mean to who I am and who am I about this problem?
Okay.
Like say, sir, for example, I might have like a car issue or something like that. Who am I? Am I the kind of person who's going to sit and let this be an issue, or am I the kind of person who's going to go get it fixed? It's all about how am I going to handle this problem, what it means to me, based on my self-idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about somebody else? What about a desire?
That's the one I should have answered, because that's what I'm on right now. But I'll let somebody else go.
Okay. I'm getting ready to call on some people.
So I hear I can do all things. So if I have a desire for anything, who am I? And I don't know how to think I'm so redundant. Who am I? I don't know. I have a desire. I can do all things. That's my answer.
Okay. Okay. If we have a need.
Everything starts with a thought.
Okay. Everything starts with a thought. That is, so now we're talking about what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Everything starts with a thought, or everything starts with the thinker. Because a thought is not self-created. It's got to be something thinking it. So the thoughts that we have are based on the thinker, meaning based on who, and we, the thinker, I as a thinker, Veronica as a thinker, Veronica as a thinker, Cynthia as a thinker, Kari as a thinker, Mark, all of us as thinkers have thoughts. And all of our thoughts are based on us as the thinker. That's why we have different thoughts, because we're different thinkers, meaning we have different self-concepts, different ideas of ourselves. So then every thought really starts to me with the thinker. Now, the thinker, based on who it believes itself to be, is going to have certain thoughts. Versus another thinker that believes itself to be something different, whether that be better or worse, so to speak, is going to have a different set of thoughts, even if they're thinking about the same need. So then when we're talking about any of these things, a want, all of these things are the same thing, meaning how we approach them is the same. What they are may be different. How we approach the airport or the bank teller or the ATM machine, those are all different things, but they all still require one thing. And without that one thing and that thing first, not when you get around to it, not when you think it's okay, not after you read a good book, not after you meditated, you don't get to live life when you're ready. You don't get to do that. Life is already happening. You don't get to live it when you're ready. You get to win when you're ready. But if you're not ready, you will lose until then. You will lose until then. Everything necessitates your understanding of your self-concept. You have to start there with who am I? Who is I believing myself to be? Who is that? And based on what that is, that gives me access to different resources. If I believe myself to be just Lucky, then whatever Lucky can put his hands on is what I have. But that's all I have. Why do you think it doesn't? We can just use the old school word. Let's just say pray. Why do you think we pray? Because we may want something that we don't have access to. Otherwise, we wouldn't pray. We would just get it, eat it, pay for it, buy it, take it, whatever it is. So now we're trying to get access in our limited state to access to our unlimited state. That can now give us what we're limited by. We can go to the closet and get this jacket. We can now actually clothe ourselves with what we want to be. That closet is unlimited. That part of your mind is unlimited. It can do all things. It can house all things. That conscious part of your mind is just housing what you're believing yourself to be now, what you're wearing right now. Can't wear it all. You won't be able to move. But you're always wearing that which is valid and appropriate to you, especially as you mature. So you know how you buy a young person something and just, oh, mom, it's their birthday's in July. Oh, mom, I really want to get that new bomber jacket. Oh, they're so cool. So you buy it for them and they want to wear it today and it's 95 degrees outside. And they just dying to have it on. You be like, no, you're going to be out here sweating. You're going to sweat the jacket. But no, I don't care. I won't sweat. How do you not sweat in 95-degree weather with this jacket on? But they swear they won't sweat. They'll promise you. They will promise you they're not going to sweat. They want to wear that jacket so bad, right? So as we mature, we realize, hey, I might buy this jacket now, but I'm going to wear it later tonight, or I'm going to wear it when it gets to winter. What I clothe myself in is based on my awareness of the outcome of wearing this thing, who I believe myself to be, my maturity level, my understanding of things, right? So all of these require your ID. How you deal with each one of these things starts from the same thing. Who am I? The I am, right? Connotatively called, self-defined as God. What are three attributes of God, of that form of thought, of that level of thought? What are three attributes of that level of thought that will allow you to deal with each one of these or all of these? There are three things that allow you to deal with that.
Consciousness.
Okay, that's what this is. Huh?
Awareness.
Awareness. Okay, what's a word for that?
Belief.
Okay. All of these start with omni.
And
Omni.
Omni. Okay.
Omni. That means all. Right? Say it again.
I was thinking creative. I can create anything. I can create any
Why
solution.
is that? That's true, but why?
Because I'm God.
Okay. And so as a result of being that, omnipotent. One of your attributes is omnipotence. You can do anything. It's the ability to do anything. That's one aspect of yourself. That is one of your characteristics. One of those three things that allows you to do anything and everything. Omnipotence. Okay. What's another one? Omni what?
Omni, I don't know.
Okay. Omnipresent. What does omnipresent mean?
All places, all at once, everywhere.
All places, yep. All at once, everywhere. Okay. And what's the last one?
Omniscient.
Yes, omniscient.
What
does omniscient mean?
All knowing.
All knowing. So now just think of what you actually are. When you approach a problem, a desire, a need, or a want, with knowing who I am is, who you're saying, this is who I am. Who am I? This is who I am. I know I'm God, meaning I am is God, right? Consciousness is God, the highest level of consciousness. The highest level of consciousness knows that is that. Knows that it's omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent. It knows that it has that ability. It is that. So therefore, when it approaches it from this, that approaches all these with that, you're essentially saying that all of you, Justin, Cynthia, all of us on here, have this ability in us. It is us. We have the ability to deal with any problem with omnipotence. We have the ability to deal with it. We have the power and the ability. So you have the ability and the power to deal with anything, right? You also have the knowledge. You know how to do everything, anything. You know how to do it. You know how to apply your power. You know what you need to do, all knowing and all present. You're everywhere. This ability to know and do is everywhere. Wherever you go, you have this power. Wherever you go, you have the knowledge. Wherever you go, wherever you are, you have this power with you and you have the knowledge with you to know what to do and the ability to do it. That goes everywhere you are because it is you. When you understand that I am, when you say God, when you say I am, when you say consciousness believes itself to be, knows itself to be, is omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent. So when you know that is you, then now when you have a problem or a desire or a need or a want, you start there. I am. You start with I am. Realizing and remembering who you really are, so that you access now omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence to deal with any problem, desire, need, or want that you have. That means you have all the ability to make it happen, all the know-how to make it happen, and wherever you are. With whatever it is, wherever you are, day, night. Is there any place you can go where God is not?
No.
Is there any time of day or night where God is not?
No.
Right. So then what problem can't you solve? What need can't you meet? What time, day or night, is there a blackout? Or please leave a message at the beep. Hey, God, it's your boy calling, man. I really need some help. I'm out of the office for the holidays. I'll be returning on January 15th. If you have any problems, too bad for you. You get your out of office message? There is no time where God is not. There is no place where God is not. There is no thing that God cannot handle. That is you. Your consciousness has all the ability to perform with omnipotence, omnipresence, and omniscience, with all knowing, all power, and all everywhere you go at all times. There are no blackout days. There are no exemptions. There are no exceptions. There are no qualifications. There are no, let me see your coupon. There are no, this expired. There's just not a Groupon. This is, you have everything necessary in you as you to deal with everything you could, whatever you would call a problem, a desire, a need, or a want. You have all of it. And if you start with that awareness of, this is who I am. So I'm not going to approach this problem just as Sparkle Bailey or just as Karen. I'm not going to approach it just as that. I'm now going to approach it as who I really am, because I really want this taken care of, and I want this smooth, fast. I ain't got time to be playing. I am this. So now that means I am now going to say, okay, let me actually tap into this omniscience, this knowing. So when you saw the girl pick up the beers, right? It just reminded me of a small version of that. That you have the problem, that you have the ability, you have the knowledge, you have the know-how to solve everything that you could want or need, even if it's picking up 13 beers just to say you could. That wasn't a big buff dude doing it. It wasn't two people helping. It was one person carrying 13 beers. When if you just say one person carrying 13 beers, everybody, how are you gonna do that? Because we start thinking of ourselves as the names on this screen and don't stop and take a step back and say, wait a minute. Okay, if this is something I want to do or I need to do, if this has to get done or I really want this to get done, let me actually go to the closet. Let me actually see where all my resources are. Let me start from here. Let me break out my ID. Who am I really? And when we stop and think about that, who we really are, then you'll start getting answers that are much different than who you think you are. Your limitations will drop away quick because you'll have ideas that will allow you to carry those beers. You'll have ideas that will allow you to get your password that you can't find. You'll have things will happen because that part of you is always accessible and available. And my intention here in this particular part of the class is to raise your attention, to call your attention to that part of yourself, to realize that is more you than your name. That is more you than what you think you are. That is you. Your desires come from this place of omnipresence, omniscience, and omnipotence. Why do you think to the human mind they seem not only exciting and thrilling, but can feel overwhelming and impossible? Because we're trying to gauge all with limit. We're trying to handle an all idea with a limited mind because we're using that mind to receive it. So we're thinking, I can't do that. Yeah, I wasn't really talking to who you think you are. I'm talking to who you really are, right? These clothes we're wearing is like Halloween. Your kids put on something and they're Batman and Spider-Man and Wonder Woman and things like that. And you're like, all right, bro, just for Halloween, don't put the thing on tomorrow and try to go to school with it. You're not really that person. You're just that person for right now.
Tell them that.
But it's like Jeremiah, come on, man, take it off. We got to go to school today, man. Stop playing. Mom has a meeting. Put on your jacket. No, you can't wear the Spider-Man mask. No, Halloween is up. It's the same thing. Right now, we're wearing a mask. That's what the word person means, persona. Latin, it means character or mask. It's the thing you put on to act on this stage of this play of life. It's not who you really are. It's just what you're acting as, right? So anytime, what I want us to understand, what I'm saying about all this is anytime, it doesn't have to be a problem to think this way. It's a problem if you don't, right? You want to think this way about everything because this is the highest level of thought, and that's who you are in flesh. You are the highest level of consciousness in physical form. That's who you really are. This is who we really are. And if we were actually to access our world or interact with our world from this state of mind, now we have omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence. We have all the ability, all the knowledge to do anything, anywhere, all the time, every time. We're never lacking. We're never without the power, the ability, or the know-how. Start there. Start from who you really are. Check your ID. You can't go into the bank and give them your Starbucks card. That's not going to work, right? You can't go to TSA with your Costco card. You have to make sure that you are thinking from your proper identity, who we really are. With that ID, you get access to all the resources that ID holds or has access to. With who you really are, you have access to omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence. There's nothing you can't do, and there's nothing you can't do easy. There's nothing you can't do easy. God said, let there be light. That was it. There wasn't a bunch of loans. There wasn't a bunch of voting. There wasn't a big construction site. There wasn't a whole bunch of other stuff. You don't have to go through all the stuff that we're going through, except we do because we have now believed we are what we see in the mirror, what we bathe and shave and feed and clothe. We think we're that. That's not who we are. We're not Spider-Man. I know this seems like an eternal Halloween, but we're not Spider-Man. We are the being under the mask, the being under the costume, the thing we take off and go to bed, the thing that we take off before we go to bed that night, all the makeup, all the wigs, or all the outfits that all of us put on for Halloween. We are who we are before the mask, before the outfit, and after it. The outfit is just something we put on for a couple of minutes to play a role. That's what our names is, the name of the role we're playing. That's not who we are. So I want us to start there. Start with who you really are. The same ID that you have to give to those people. If you're handling business, you can be however you want on Halloween because you're not dealing with no laws. But when you go into the bank, you're dealing with the law. When you're going to the airport, you're dealing with the law. When you go into the ATM, you're dealing with the law. When you go to the DMV, you're dealing with the law. And they want your real ID. They don't want your Halloween outfit. They don't want who you think you are. They want who you know you are. And that is what you present to any area of your life, who you really are. And you'll handle it that way. It'll be handled that way. You'll see things just melt like butter. You'll see things just part like the Red Sea, like the Reed Sea. You'll see things actually look much different. You'll handle things much differently. With your driver's license versus your school ID. You'll get access to different things. You'll handle things much differently when you're thinking as you really are, who you really are. Start there. Start there. All right. Anybody have anything they want to say about that before I move on to the next part? It's quiet today. All right. Somebody say something. I want to know we got it. I'm going to start calling out names. I want to know we got it.
Oh, we got it.
This was amazing. You said something. When you go to the bank and you have your ID, you have access. Your morals, none of that applies. Which is why sometimes we might look to the left when we're not staying in our lane and we look to the left or to the right. Like, how come so and so? I seen him last week cheating on his wife. How come he got a big deal? He just closed 30,000 because he knows who he is and he knows the law. That's it.
Yes, that is exactly right. That is exactly right. Humanity applies morals and ethics and things like that. Gravity doesn't, electricity doesn't, your consciousness doesn't, the laws do not. Humanity does. That's why humanity tries to always rewrite laws, but they're not laws, they're just rules. That's why they change every January, and that's why only certain people have to follow them and all the other stuff. They're not laws, they're rules. Rules. The only laws are nature's laws. That's why those never change. They're immutable. Seasons come every year, whether you want to be cold or not. And if you don't like it, you better move somewhere where it doesn't happen over there. Gravity works. Nobody jumped off a roof and went up. Doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. The laws of nature, the laws of mind, the laws of God, the laws of consciousness don't change. They're not personal. They don't care about your morals, your ethics, your values, your religion. They don't care about your gender. They don't care about what you identify as. They don't care about none of all that stuff that humanity gets into. It doesn't care anything about that. Right? You have to know who you are. You have to present your ID to the law if you want to actually get access to your desire. Period. Point blank. So you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. All right. Now we're talking about fish in the sea. I actually got this one from a conversation with my mom this week. And it's a great example of how important your state of mind is. Think of your state of mind like the state where you live. The state where you live, the physical place where you are. Your state of mind is where the real you, where God lives. It's consciousness. It's a state of mind. It's consciousness. And there are infinite states of mind, just like there are infinite places we can live, so to speak, on this planet. There's infinite planets and galaxies and whatever else it is. But your state of mind is just like where you live physically. And from where you live, this is where everything is happening. Okay. So my mom was saying, her and I were talking a little bit, and she was just saying how she saw something she didn't like. She looked on one of her cameras because she has a bunch of businesses. She looked on one of her cameras and she saw something she didn't like. And based on what she saw, it made her feel a certain way. And then based on how, right, it made her have a thought. Then we have a feeling that follows the thought. And now we are often running with God knows whatever that is, depending on what happens when all of us individually see something we don't like. All right. So I want us to think about something. Let's reverse engineer this. Fish in the sea. So when we're just talking about a fish and they live in the sea, water, ocean, whatever, a jar of water, like a little goldfish. All fish live in water. Okay. Why do fish live in water? Of whatever kind or type it is. Why is that?
They're not designed to breathe oxygen.
Okay, so why do they live in water? Because
they were designed to breathe water, basically.
So the key word in that sentence is what?
Design.
Design. Design. I'm just writing it down just because I'm writing. I don't expect you guys necessarily to be able to see it. Design. The key word in that sentence is design. Okay. Somebody else. If they come up out of that water, what happens then? If they're out of that water for any prolonged amount of time, what happens then?
They're going to die.
They die.
Okay.
They die.
Okay. They die. However they die, they die. However it happens to them, they die. So I want you to think about this. So you went from, so you go design or die. Essentially. Okay. Why does a fish not come out of that water?
Because he knows they know what they are. They know what they're designed to do. Their genetic makeup.
So what's the word, the key word?
Self-awareness.
I think that was
their biology.
What's the key word? One word. What, Mark? No. Knowledge. Knowledge will save you. Ignorance will kill you. Not morally or ethically. Knowledge will save a bad person. Ignorance will kill a good person. It's not morals or ethics to the law. So think of the words we're putting up here. Design, die, knowledge. Okay, so it knows don't come up out of there. All right. Now, everything that fish is doing is from where?
Instinct.
Okay, but from where? Everything they're doing is from where?
It's self-awareness of being a fish. It's mind state. It's brain.
Okay.
Community of fish, like they follow each other.
What if they're in a? Say it again.
Omniscience.
No, if they're in a bowl by themselves, your little fourth grade kid had brought a goldfish home from the carnival. They don't have anybody else to follow. They're the only one in the bowl. Where are they doing everything they're doing from?
Instinct.
Creation.
Where are they seeing everything?
From where they are.
From where they are. From where they are. From their location. Everything you're doing is from where you are. I don't care what else benefits from it. You may be online doing some business that's going to be transacted in Africa. But where are you? You're wherever you are, right? Wherever you are is where everything is happening from. That is your frame of reference. Okay. So this fish understands things, but this fish is limited. It can't go outside the water. It doesn't even consider that an option. And whether you want to call that instinct, which is what animals have, but instinct, it's just knowledge. It is a pre-programmed set of understanding that it knows not to violate. It doesn't even consider it an option. It doesn't say, I'm just going to get out the bowl and see, because I think they're cooking some eggs. Let me see what they're doing out there. It's not doing that. It knows that no matter where it's going on, whatever's going on, it's going to have to see it from where it is, from its location. Everything is happening to it, or that it can see from the location. Its perception is from where it is. Okay, now, we talked about, so that's the fish, right? All right, now, let's talk about humanity. So when I was talking to my mom, let's talk about humanity now, so to speak. Humanity also has what? What is that called down here? What's the word we use down here? Design. Humanity also has a design. A design is the same thing as a program. But we are unlimited. That means, and another word for unlimited is what?
All powerful.
Okay. And what's the benefit of those things?
Limitless.
Limitless. What's another word for limitless? Infinite. Okay. And what's the benefit of being limitless and infinite? In this physical experience, that
unstoppable.
It produces what?
Abundance.
It makes you
creative.
It makes you
alive.
It makes you
all powerful.
It makes you free. You are free.
The answer be so simple. We be trying to go so deep.
It makes you free.
Right.
Everything, when you are unlimited, right? When you are abundant, don't you feel free? Yeah. When you're unlimited, you can go all around Disneyland or all around the park or all around your house. Aren't you free? When you have omniscience, omnipotence, omnipresence, and you can do anything, doesn't that make you and keep you free? When somebody said it's the truth, doesn't the truth set you and keep you free as long as you obey it and are in line with it? Freedom is the outcome of that all of this is worth having this for. What's the difference if you have all that and you still can't do what you want to do? Right? It's free. The fish is limited. It's not free. So we are unlimited. That means we are not bound. We're not bound by a location. We are location-less, so to speak. We're not bound by one. Right? We're not bound by one. But just if that fish gets out of water, what happens if we're in the wrong state of mind? What happens if we choose the wrong location?
We start choking.
Okay, what is another way to say that? What do you mean by that?
Oxygen. We lack oxygen. We're out of.
We could die.
Yeah.
You could. Most likely we don't. That's why we do it. See, the fish knows for sure it's going to do it. The fish knows for sure it's not an option. We know that we can choose any option. And if we knew if we chose any option we were going to die, people wouldn't do it. So people don't really die from choosing the wrong location most of the time. But what happens to most people? Chaos. Okay. What is an individual form of chaos for people on a daily basis? What do you see people looking for? Huh?
Depression.
Sickness.
Okay. Sickness.
Anxiety, stress.
All of those things. Mm-hmm. All of these things are a form, essentially, of suffering. You get yourself in the wrong location, you're going to suffer. When you stick that fork in that thing and you get lit up in the electrical outlet, you suffer. When you burn your hand, you suffer. When you cut your hand, you suffer.
Me in the kitchen.
Right? When you do certain things that are out of bounds, when you are not out of your mental location, you start to suffer. Just like when a fish gets out of water, you start to suffer. And the only reason we be in the wrong location is because we have the freedom to be. But the only reason we do that, the only reason we do the wrong thing, we get ourselves in the wrong location, is because the exact opposite of knowledge, we have the ability to operate in ignorance. We have the ability to be ignorant. Now, it's going to cause us suffering, but we can do it. Everything you're doing is from a state of mind. You have a specific state of mind. You are just like you're all in a physical location right now, your consciousness is in a mental location called a state of mind, state of consciousness. And everything that you see and interact with and everything like that is being done from that place. And if you are, say right now, you're driving in your car, it's going to be tough to bench press while you drive.
Yeah.
This is going to be tough, right? It's not moral or ethical. It's just going to be tough.
Right.
Right? When you're taking a shower, it's going to be hard to be coding at the same time. When you're in certain locations, it's hard to do other things from where you are. So then we have to start paying attention then to what?
We allow ourselves to go, who we allow ourselves to be around, what we allow ourselves to settle for.
Yeah, but that's secondary.
Okay.
That's secondary. What's primary?
What we allow ourselves to think.
Our values.
Yes, our consciousness, where we are in mind. Because where we are in mind dictates who we vibe with and who we don't, who we hang out with and who we don't, where we go and where we don't. The physical, we always name the physical because it's what we can see, but we have to understand here. We have to understand this. The physical is nothing but a copy of your mind. The physical is nothing but a copy of your mind. It is not creative, it is expressive. Everything you're doing physically is because of what you are thinking consciously, what your consciousness, what is in there. Some things you're doing so much you don't think you're thinking them consciously. It's just a habitual thought on repeat. You don't need to consciously think it to do it. That's why you can be on the phone and still drive. Nobody's thinking, turn right. You're on the phone. Does that make sense? But there's only one part of you that's conscious, that's functioning consciously. The other part is being taken over unconsciously. It's your autopilot, right? So everything you're doing is like a fish in that fishbowl. Your consciousness is like that fishbowl, and you are in it. And wherever that consciousness is, that is wherever you are in that consciousness, that is where you're seeing your world from. That's where you're interacting with your world from. So if you're in the consciousness of panic or fear or this or that, if you're in that state, everything you're doing is from that state. You wonder why you don't get good ideas? It's hard to do that when you're depressed. You wonder why you don't get brilliant ideas? It's hard to do that when you're anxious and nervous. You wonder why you can't get rich? It's hard to do that when you're conscious of being poor. When you're always talking about, I ain't got it. I can't afford it. It's never enough. All these old jobs don't pay anything. When you're in a state of consciousness, everything you're doing is from that state of consciousness. You don't get to pick and choose.
Well, it's like impossible to do that, right?
It does.
It's impossible to come up with an answer when you're stressed out.
Yes, but the point of, yes, that's correct. That is actually correct. But people don't know that or think that. They don't believe that. They don't understand that.
I heard that your IQ level even goes down.
Everything goes down once you everything goes down once you lose a certain level of consciousness. Once you start believing yourself to be certain things, once you stop believing the truth about who you are, or stop believing the truth about what that means, you're on a slide now going down.
Yeah.
It could just be a drop. It could be a slow descent, but make no mistake, you are descending from heaven. You are descending from heaven. Ladies and gentlemen, let me break it to you. Heaven is a state of mind. It's not a place. I hope it doesn't upset anybody, but the truth will make you free. Hell is a state of mind too. And don't you hear people say, oh, hell. Oh, hell no. What the hell is going on? What the hell is happening now? It's not like positive thinking heaven or negative thinking hell. It's not some kind of vague aroma or something like that. It's a state of suffering or a state of bliss. It's when you've won the award in the NBA finals and you're lifting up the trophy and you're like, I did it. That's heaven, so to speak. When you climb the mountaintop, when you finish the race, I'll just use it as a very simplified form, right? When you wake up and wish you didn't. When you wake up and say, damn, I can't wait for this day to be over, and you haven't even got out the bed, you're in hell. You're suffering, aren't you? You're miserable, aren't you? Isn't that a state of suffering? And it's eternal, because until you change it, you in it. And aren't you experiencing it right now? And all the things that are in your mind when you inhale, all the devils, all the demons, my back hurt, my checking account hurt, this fool's on my nerves, my car ain't working right, and my leg is hurting, and I got to go to work today, and it's snowing. You just in all kind of hell. There ain't no escape. Everything you're doing is like that fish in the fishbowl. You're doing it from a place, and you see your world from that place. Everything you're doing in this world, you're doing it from a state of consciousness, a place, a mental location, and everything in this world from that place. That's where your resources are. So the fish is always in water. You're always in a state of mind. Everything that is in that water is the same thing as everything that's in your state. So if you're in hell, go on, get used to all the devils, the doubts, the demons, the stress, the worry, the fear, the anxiety, the depression. That's hell. Abundance, prosperity, peace, love, joy. Above all things, I wish that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. I have not given you the spirit of fear, but of power and love and sound mind, a whole mind, a complete mind. That's heaven. When you can sleep in peace, when you can walk down the street in peace, when you can drive in peace, when your heart feels good, when your mind feels good, when your body feels good, when your checking account feels good, when your relationships with whom you love feels good. That's heaven. Welcome. That's heaven. That's it. And the higher up the goal, the more you're going to see of that. but it is a conscious effort. We are unlimited. We are truly free. We are free to be great, and we are free to fail miserably. The fish doesn't have, that's why the fish is taken care of, because it's provided for, because it's locked into just follow this program and you'll be taken okay. You'll be okay.
We get to choose.
We get to choose, including failure. Failure is a choice. Not making it is a choice. Death is a choice, as far as it being some way you don't want it to be. These are choices that we have. Therefore, we have to make decisions. And sometimes the decisions we make take us out of our covering, take us out of the ability to be provided for. See, the fish is always provided for because it's never out of the water. But we are greater than an animal. We are greater than a fish. We're greater than a tree. We are the highest form of physical presence.
We're the only living being that's in places we weren't programmed to be. Like, we go in the water, we're flying in the air.
So that means just like you're free to fly, you're free to fail.
Right.
You don't just get one. Right? They're both happening. And depending on you, so you have to figure out, if you're in the air, you better be a pilot, or you better be with one who is. You can't be in certain places with ignorance. It'll cost you.
Right.
You can't do that. Everything you're doing is from a state of mind. That fish is always in the fishbowl. You're always in a state of mind. And everything you're doing is from that place. And you have to make sure that you are in a place that you want to see the world from and want to see the world as, and that you're surrounded with the resources that are for your design, that will keep you alive. That's what fish do. That's what animals do. That's what trees do. That's why everything else in nature is provided for. But it doesn't have a say so either. Aren't our children provided for? How much say they get? Especially when they're younger. They don't get that much say. You didn't buy it. You ain't cooking it. You're not cleaning it. You didn't drive to get it. You didn't pay for it. You dinner. Right? Oh, mommy, I don't want that. Okay, good night. Only as they get older and they're able to start cooking for themselves, or they want to go and do, as they mature and they can take on more responsibility in one way or another, do they get a little bit more say. We have all the say because we are the authority. And we have to make sure that we now have to provide for ourselves, meaning we have to now keep ourselves in a location where we are based on our design. To be afraid is common. It's not correct. To be sick is common. It's not correct. Don't confuse the two. Doesn't make you a bad person. The cold didn't come because your credit score is low. That's not why the flu came. That's not why it works, right? It's not correct. It's just common. Fear is not correct. It's just common. It's what everybody has, and most people have it. Not that they should, but they do. And everybody thinks that if a lot of people have something, it's right. It's not. Most people aren't rich either. Just because a lot of people are broke, don't make broke it. A lot of people live in check to check, don't make that it. Does it feel like it's it?
No.
When you're sick, does that feel like it's it? When something is not correct, does it feel like it? But just because a lot of people have it, like we talked about, don't rationalize the dark. Most people are in the dark. It doesn't make them bad people, but it makes them dangerous people because they're tripping over themselves, including you. Everybody stumbles and stambles in the dark. You put 10 people in a dark room, and you know what that's going to be like? Remember the carnival and everybody playing bumper cars? That's what it's going to be like. Everybody just running into each other. And the longer that happens, the more upset people get. And so they're not bad people originally. They just they become agitated because they're frustrated. They're afraid now. They got hit. They're tired of getting hit, and they don't know how to stop it. So you're always in a state of consciousness. You're always in a location like that fish in the fishbowl. And everything that you see is relevant to that location. And if you're in the right state of mind, you can look at something and say, okay, cool, that don't bother. I have nothing to do with me. I see it, but that has nothing to do with me. A rich person looking at a poor person doesn't make them poor all of a sudden. You can look at something and say, that has nothing to do with me, or that's not going to affect me. I could get involved or not, but I'm still me because what I am, what that is. I'm in a state where I can look at something outside of me and say, while I see that, that has nothing to do with me. I don't have to, I'm not, that doesn't make it me or me it. So the state where you are is what's going to determine how you see what you think, feel how you feel. And you have the choice to determine what state of mind you put yourself in, so that you can have power, love, and soundness of mind. That's the design. That's what a fish have when they're in the water. Guess what a fish has when they're out of the water? What do you think they have?
Suffocation.
What do you think they have?
Stress, anxiety, fear.
What's the biggest word?
Desperation.
The struggle to survive.
Yeah, they're afraid. It's
Suffering.
fear. They're like, oh, shoot, I'm going down.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you get out of the water. That's what happens when you get out of your right mind. That's what happens when you start believing in fear, sickness, poverty, stress, struggle, strain, anxiety, worry, depression. When you start believing people can do stuff to you and people can put voodoo on you and curses on you, or people can stop you from making it, or when you start believing incorrect things, it's like the fish getting out of its boundary. Your mind is now getting out of its boundary. You are now eligible for all the things that a fish knows not to do. If I jump out this water, it's not going to work. So it doesn't do it. God just wanted to teach me a lesson. So you jumped out the water because God wanted to teach you a lesson. That's what you're saying? Oh, you learned your lesson because you jumped out the water. Nobody threw you out the water. Nobody picked you up and put you out the water. Otherwise, they would have never put you in the first place.
Like when people say that if you couldn't, like God wouldn't put you here if you couldn't go through it or whatever they say. You say it like a rhyme.
Yeah, in the sense of, yeah. And people just don't realize that the God they're referring to is their consciousness. You're where you are because of what you are. And you're what you are because of what you think and believe yourself to be.
Coach,
do you go to a bank you don't have an account in and say, can I have some money? You don't do that, because you passing the ID still ain't going to do nothing. You don't have no money there. You don't have an account there. Yes.
Real quick, and Vera, when you said that, it just like triggered something inside of me. A lot of us were raised in specific Christian households where we were programmed, and like it's like a sick conditioning almost, where it's like all these things are happening because God trusts me so much. He values me so much that he thought I could go through this and overcome it and share my story with others, or he thought I could overcome it and it would make me stronger. The experience would make me stronger. And when you believe that for 20 years and 30 years and 40 years, and then you get older and you realize, wait a minute, God is actually me. Heaven and hell exist only if I say so in my mind, if I create the life for myself, that heaven and hell are real to me. Living in fear was taught to us. We were taught to fear God. We were taught to fear the greatness that is God. But then at the same time, don't be afraid of any man. It's a lot of contradictions within the Christian faith. A lot of them. I don't ever hear you call those out, and I respect you even more for that. I'm taking a risk by even saying this verbally, like out loud, because I know how people feel about conversations like this, and I never mean to offend anybody. But I just wanted to just mention how crippling the conditioning has been for many who never heard the truth that God is in you. You are the God, and you decide if your life is going to be heaven or hell. You decide if you're going to entertain depression. You decide if you're going to entertain abundance. And so it was just in me to share, because like you said, Vero, I rebelled as well, and it caused a lot of rifts. It broke relationships. A lot of people lost respect for me because I rebelled as well. And it's spaces like this that just remind me I'm not tripping, and to just continue moving forward. So that's all. Thank you.
And when people say, but most people don't have a concordance. Does everybody here know what a concordance is?
No.
Everybody know? Do people know what a concordance is?
I've heard of
No, I don't.
I've heard of a biblical concordance. Yeah.
Reference book to
Say it again. You went out.
a reference book to study the Bible.
Yes, it's a reference book to study the words. What does this word in this sentence actually mean? What do they mean when they say it? Because most people read the words in that book exoterically, like telling a story of the tortoise and the hare. And then if you told Jeremiah a story of tortoise and the hare, then he went outside looking for the tortoise and the hare, you'd be like, no, bro, that's not what I mean. I was just telling you a story to give you a truth in this story. So exoteric is when somebody takes something literally. Esoteric is what the story has been told for, to give you, it's the reason they told the story, to give you a truth. So when it talks about fear God, that word actually means respect. And God's name is I am. I am. That is God's name in the book. In that book that everybody is referencing, God, they said, who do I say sent me? God, I am that I am. Now, what do you say first person every day? Whether it's whatever you attach to it, what do you say constantly?
I or mine, yeah.
Right? I am, I'm sick, I'm broke, I'm happy, I'm healthy, but it's always I am. So then what must that make you? What other way? How else are you going to get around this? What else do you want me to say? I didn't make it up. I didn't write it. I'm just telling you what it said. I'm not telling you. I always tell you, I don't care what you guys want. I just want you to have it. But you can't have it if you're in ignorance. And if most people don't read a Bible, that they don't know what the words mean because they don't have a concordance. They don't say in this verse, in this chapter, this word actually means this, right? So when it's talking about fear, it's saying respect. That's what it's referring to, is respect. Respect what? I am. So if you respect I am, what are you respecting? Yourself. Where does it say? The kingdom of heaven is where? Christ in you.
Within you.
Is within you. Christ in you. Kingdom in you. Whatever you desire, when you pray, you will receive it. It's all you. It's saying it's you 1,000 different ways, 1,000 different times. Yes, most of us have been misinformed, misled, and a lot of, for whatever reasons. And that's okay, right? And to Sparkle Bailey's point, I'm not on here railing on it. I was raised in the same thing. I don't care about it. I just care about the truth. That's all I care about, because all I want to do is be free. And I started this journey for myself because as much information I had, I didn't have it. I wasn't free.
The Bible memorized.
I didn't feel free. But now that I understand what they were really trying to say, because I have a concordance, or because I found people who knew really what it was saying, not what they thought, not their opinion, not their beliefs, but could actually show me what this word means from the Greek, the Latin, the Hebrew, Sanskrit, Aramaic, Arabic, whatever else it is. Then I'd be like, oh, okay, I see what they were trying to say. I know what they meant. I know what they mean, not just what they said. When all of us have people around us that we know, somebody could say, the other Veronica, somebody could say, oh, Veronica, so-and-so told me that you said this. If they know Veronica really for who she is, they know what she said, but they know her well enough to know what she meant. This is what she means when she says this. Oh, yeah, okay, I know what she meant. Oh, okay. You're not mad? No, I know her. I know what she meant by that. It could be an inside joke. It could be this, but she know it's not just what someone says. You have to know what they mean. And most people read that book and just know what it says, but have no idea what it means. Because exoterically, they're just following the tortoise and the hare. They're following what the words are literally, but they don't understand what the words are attempting to convey. A truth. And the truth was purposely hidden because they said, we want people to have to dig for it so that it will stir up their imagination. It was so that you really understand it. Why do you think you have homework? So that you stir up your imagination and really understand it. You don't just sit there, listen to a teacher, go home and think, I got it. And that's what most people do. Yes.
There's I just wanted to share that you mentioned concordance. There's an app that I use. It's called the Blue Letter Bible, and it has a concordance built in, which has me reading and understanding the King James version of the Bible, which never ever in life have I ever understood until I incorporated the concordance. So just to share with everyone that that's what I use. And I get everything that you say, and I go back and I study the concordance with the Bible, and I understand it. I know what I'm reading. I feel like a whole adult.
Right? So if that's just with anything, only the truth sets you free. Right? And if you don't know it, you're not. Right? So all these things are important. Right? We've been all these, so this is why we're talking about what we're talking about. But it's important for you to understand that your state of mind is where you're approaching everything from. You're that fish in the fishbowl in your mind, so to speak. You're in your consciousness. You're in a state of consciousness. And depending on what that state is, you're seeing things and having a reaction to it. You're telling yourself, as people say, a story based on where you are in mind. What this thing means to you is based on where you are. What land means to a fish is not the same thing as what land means to a human. What water means to a human is not the same thing as it means to a fish. What human want to go out there in a storm and a big hurricane or a tsunami want to go to the ocean? Let's go swimming. But the fish don't have a choice. They out there, whether it's a hurricane, tsunami, or whatever else it is. They don't have, this is where they live. Right? So how we see the world is based on where we live consciously. Yes.
Sparkle Bailey is saying that Gavin is asking why there are multiple.
Oh man, that's a
loaded one.
I mean, there's a lot of answers to that, but essentially you have some. So when they first wrote the thing, there were a lot of different books. There's the book of Thomas. There's the book of a lot of different books that aren't even in the Bible. They decided what they were going to put in there. The Council of Nicaea back in the day decided what they were going to put in there as literature to awaken consciousness, but you have to know how to read it. And so they decided what they wanted to put in there. They didn't put everything that was available. They just put in there what they thought what should be in there. Then you had people like King James, who decided he wanted to have his own version of it because he wanted to have his own version of it for his own reasons. So the Bible is almost like a calendar. There's so many things changed. We don't even know what today is. We don't know what today is, what year we're in. We don't know anything. They didn't change the calendar, added days, took away days, added months. They didn't. Now you got leap year. We don't even, if we were really trying to figure out what day and month this is, I don't know how anybody would do it. That book is the same thing. There's been so many additions and subtractions. The truth that they're trying to get across is sufficient. But if you read it literally saying what's in there, what's not, and all the other stuff, then you'll get caught up because then you'll say, is this real? Is this true? And none of that doesn't matter. Though what they're trying to tell you is the only thing that matters. That what we talk about every Saturday is I am means that is the highest level of consciousness. That is what you are proclaiming yourself to be every day, the highest level of consciousness. That highest level of consciousness created every physical thing and creates every physical thing in this world. There's nothing in this physical world that was created without this level of consciousness creating it. Even as the great philosopher Cat Williams said, the devil doesn't create anything for itself or even its own people. Even the greatest villain, arch villain, the Satan, which was put in the Bible centuries after it was originally laid out, is just there as an arch nemesis, like a video game or like a Avengers movie, right? It doesn't even have the power. It's not even given creative power. There's only one power. There's only one consciousness. There's only one thing creating, maintaining, and sustaining every physical thing in this world. And that is God. I am consciousness. That is what we are saying we are every day, every moment, by what we say or by just our state of knowing I am something. A man, a woman, Black, 40 years old, 30, whatever else it is. We're always believing ourselves to be. The point here on this call is the intent is to make sure that we are conscious about what it is that we're saying we are, that we're aware of what it means when we say I am, of who we're talking about and what that actually means. So therefore, then we will access all the resources, the omniscience, the omnipotence, the omnipresence of that awareness because we know who we are. So that book was just modified, added to, taken from for a lot of different things. But the main thing you need to know is what we're talking about here on Saturday, which is who you are.
That's also not the only book.
And there's 1,000 different ones.
There's so many other references you can use. That's not the only source either. It's just part of many.
It's just part of a pantheon of books, right? Mm-hmm. But the whole point is that it doesn't matter which one you read. It doesn't matter if you read all of them or none of them. It doesn't even matter. It only matters that you know what you need to know, however you get that knowledge. That you are responsible for your life. You are creating your reality, period. You are creating your reality by your set of thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, by your self-concept, what you're believing yourself to be. And your world outside of you, your world outside of you is a reflection of your reality, of your consciousness, of your set of thoughts, feelings, and beliefs about yourself and what that means as a result. The world is a collection of all of humanity and its thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. And as you can tell, the world, and as janky as it is in a lot of ways, you see you have a lot of people, as my brother famously says, not in right thinking. They don't know who they are, so they act like animals and savages because they believe they have to fight for everything and rob everything and steal everything and cheat for everything. That's just nothing but a form of fear. That's all it is. It's a form of fear. That's all it is. It's a perverse form. And what did Hitler say? He said, never ascribe to malice that which can be described by incompetence. Never ascribe to malice. Never give credit to malice. Don't assume it's malice for something that can be described with incompetence. Most people aren't as mad and crazy as they're seen. They are just sufficiently ignorant. They're just so far off the path of light and knowledge, they don't even understand, they don't even realize it. Right? So it's not as malicious. People aren't always as malicious as they seem, but they're woefully and willfully ignorant and incompetent. And it produces the same thing. Somebody stepping on your foot on purpose, or you standing there and then somebody backing up and stepping on your foot on purpose, you still get the same outcome. You're on a roller coaster ride and people's hands up and they're screaming. Some people are screaming, "This is so fun." Some people are saying, "Oh my God, get me out." How can you tell by the picture? Can't tell, right? Which one is actually happening, even though it looks the same. Malice and incompetence lead to pain, suffering. Ignorance leads to pain, suffering. The cause of all sin, the cause of all error is ignorance. You either don't know better, or you don't know that if you decide to do this anyway, you're going to get it. So you still didn't know better because you thought you could get around it. Doesn't work like that. Right? So that's essentially why.
Just one thing, Coach Lucky, I just want to say thank you for answering my question. I really do appreciate it.
Yes,
when I was younger, I was scared to always ask that question, and the question got on that. So I'm just glad I was able to be in a safe enough space and be comfortable to ask you these type of questions. And so just me, I really do honestly appreciate you answering this question. This really means a lot to me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my honor and pleasure, brother. Thank you for asking. That's why we're all here. We're all here because we're all looking for something that a lot of times we didn't get. Even though we tried, even though we paid, even though we prayed, even though we sweated, even though we burned candles, even though we had our best outfit on, even though we did everything it took to get what we thought we should have, or what we were told we should have, or what we were looking for. And most of us didn't get it. We still were without it. And that's what this call is for. That's what the website is for. That's what these videos are for. It's to give us the truth that sets us and keeps us free. It's to be able to ask the questions that we all really want to know, and to be able to get answers, not just say, just take it by faith, or just don't ask, don't do that. It doesn't matter. Christians do it. Muslims do it. All the religions generally do it. They tell you just, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter how you feel. Just shut up and do it. But that's why most people are suffering and miserable, because they can't even ask enough questions to do it right, so to speak. They don't even know just play basketball. Well, what does that mean? That's traveling. You broke the rule, but you didn't tell me the rule. You said just play. Right? It's like we're responsible for a life we have no say in, no control over. Right. But it's still our fault. Right. So how does that add up?
Born a sinner.
Right? You're already losing from the gate. How can you be born a sinner when you're born, how can you be? So if you were born a sinner, that means you had to have been one before you got here. So how could you be that before you even got here, coming from where you came from? How is that possible?
I never asked that.
So it's just one of those things where so Gavin, and for all of us, I want all of us to come here and ask those questions, all of us to get the truth so that we're free. I want us to be free to pursue baseball, pursue business, pursue everything in life that our individual desires require, right? To be free. And only the truth does that. Not your morals, not your ethics, not your opinions, not your traditions, not your customs, not your family says. Only the truth does that. That's it. All right, I want to get to one thing real quick before we have questions. I know we only, okay. Everybody talks about this one. Gratitude. All right. I don't think I'm gonna get to anything else today anyway. All right. When we talk about gratitude, what are we talking about? What are we giving gratitude for?
Something that has benefited us, or we feel has benefited us, that we're thankful for. It's the act of showing gratefulness or feeling gratefulness for that thing.
Okay, gratefulness. So gratitude. So for a thing. Okay. All right. Who else? What is gratitude?
An expression of thankfulness.
Okay, an expression of thankfulness. Okay, so an expression. Same thing. Okay.
It's a feeling of higher vibration.
I don't know what that means. I understand what people.
There's the spectrum of emotions, and each one vibrates at a different level. Gratitude is on the higher level of that spectrum. So when you are operating off of gratitude, you are vibrating at a higher frequency than, for example, operating off of being anxious.
Okay. Okay.
When I think of gratitude, I feel people mix it up with appreciation.
Okay.
Another way of gratitude is something that's earned.
Something that's earned. Okay.
That's earned and showed, basically.
So how do you earn something from God?
Stay on his good list, like Santa Claus. That's what most people think.
It's called Christmas for a reason.
Unfortunately, Christmas is only one day. What you gonna do with the rest of them? I want to introduce a new form. I want to introduce not a new form. I want to introduce another aspect of gratitude that most of us don't really consider. When you have a desire or a need, when you want something, and you pray for something, so to speak, you want something. You're now saying, okay, I'm assuming a different consciousness of being something, right? So let's just say you wanted to make $10,000 in your business. Let's just say you wanted to have perfect health. Let's just say you wanted to go from this place to this place, whatever that is. Does that make sense so far? Say you want to make a change in something. You want to have something different. Okay. If you said, okay, I want to go from zero money to $10,000 a month in my business. So now I'm starting in one place. The end goal is $10,000 a month. The end goal could be $10,000. It could be your health. It doesn't matter what the end goal is. Doesn't matter. Okay. When you say, I'm now assuming myself to be something, right? Because over here, what is the difference? What is the difference between this side, earned expression for a thing? What's the difference between that and $10,000? What is the difference between this list and that list? When I first said, what is gratitude? And Kari said, being grateful for a thing. And I don't remember who else said expression of gratitude. And I think Gavin said it's earned. When you're talking about this side, what are you talking about? These things are all what?
Action.
Input.
Okay. Action, input, emotion, desire. Okay.
Human.
In the sense of, what do these represent? You said gratitude for a thing. What is the thing? So if you're grateful for a thing, what does that mean about the thing? What is it saying about the thing?
It's fulfilling some type of desire or something that you appreciate.
Okay. Why do you appreciate?
It could be something you needed, something you wanted, something that you weren't expecting.
Needed and wanted means you what?
Desire.
No.
Don't have it yet.
No.
Coach Lucky, can I take it a different way? Or can I just... So when I think of gratitude, I see people mix it up with appreciation. People give gratitude value. They feel like something, and it's still an emotion. It's still whatever it is. But when you think of gratitude, you put something in a higher value than what it really seriously is. You put it on a higher level because you give it praise. You put it in the forefront. You put it as number one for that moment versus just when you look at the word gratitude, it is being thankful. But when you look at appreciation, it's value. But everybody looks at gratitude and appreciation as the same thing.
I'm not sure how they're different. One seems more like an act, but they seem very similar.
Okay. So let me explain it to you. This way. When you were first talking about all these things, right? When you said needed and wanted, if you needed it and wanted it, what does that mean now?
You have it.
You have it. All these things over here, you have. So you're saying you're grateful for them. You're showing gratitude. Over here, when you say, I want to go from this thing to $10,000. I want to go from dialysis to perfect health.
You want it.
You want it. So then how come nobody expresses gratitude for now being what you want? Meaning, what if you said, you know what? I'm so happy and grateful that I'm in perfect health. I'm so happy and grateful that my business is bringing in $10,000 a month every month. I'm so happy and grateful that this, now what you're doing is you're expressing the same gratitude at the beginning that you would express in the end.
Right.
You're beginning with the end in mind. We are only expressing one form of it. Whether you want to use gratitude or appreciation, I understand some of I understand that why people think it's the same and it's different. And a lot of that is just subjectivity, how we apply the words. Because sometimes no matter how much distinction a person can feel internally, other people just feel like it's the same thing. And for right now, it's good enough to get what we're talking about here. What I'm saying is, if you walked around every day saying, man, I'm so happy and grateful now that my business brings in $10,000 a month, every single month. Man, it's so effortless and so easy to me. Everything is just, do you know what you're actually doing when you're doing that? It's not, it is gratitude. Gratitude is, meaning gratitude is what we're calling it. But what are you actually doing?
You're creating that
Manifesting it
in your life. You're creating that new normalcy in your life.
Yes, you're now making that a part of your consciousness. You're now making that is now coming into your I am.
Would that be affirming?
Yeah, affirming, it just means you're coming into agreement with something you've already declared and decreed. I've already said I'm doing this. So yes, it is. You're affirming. Do you know every day that you live in your place is an affirmation? You're still agreeing to be there.
Right.
So is the difference like I can have gratitude for something you're giving me, but I can appreciate something I may want. I'd appreciate if you do that thing for me. I can't say I'm gratitude that you'll do that thing for me because it hasn't crossed over to me yet. It's only what I have that I can be grateful for.
No, that's the point. The point is that you can be grateful for something that you are assuming that is not in your hand yet. When let's see, Kari, let's see, I don't know what would you like. If Tenny bought you a $25,000 computer that could do every fantasy you ever had in your mind, right? The Apple goggles. And she showed you on Amazon, I ordered it. Could you be grateful right then when she ordered it?
Good point. Yes.
See what I mean? So what I'm saying to you is that we're only expressing, I'm just going to use the gratitude word right now. I'm just going to just use it for right now. We only express gratitude for what we have and what we get and what we got. What I want us to do is learn how to express gratitude for what we're assuming we have before it comes into our hand, because that is producing the consciousness that is going to literally what you call attract it. You're now becoming aware. See, you're not creating anything. We're becoming aware. And what affirmations do, what you would call gratitude or whatever, what affirmations do is it's like turning a light on in a room. You're becoming aware of something that exists that before that room existed, but it was dark. You didn't see it. Affirmations are like turning a light on. It makes you aware of something. Your awareness is your consciousness. It's your reality. What you become aware of, you experience and express. So when you click that Amazon and you can show your husband or your wife or whomever, hey, I bought this for you, they're excited like it happened.
Right.
Because they know it's nothing but a matter of time. And what I'm saying to you is that you can say, I now am making $10,000 a month in my business. I now have perfect health. I now have the best relationship. I now am a real estate educator and I have 150 clients. I'm a great teacher and all my students love me. I'm a great parent. I'm whatever I am. The assumption of being, and now the gratitude of that assumption is what you would show the assumption of, I hit Amazon, I can show you, here's the receipt. Everybody's grateful. It didn't have to be in your hand. So what I'm saying is that when you desire to have something or be something, when you're able to say, man, I'm so grateful, man, I'm so happy and grateful that I have $10,000 in my business, or I'm in perfect health, or I'm always whatever else it is. I'm now declaring the end from the beginning. I am now creating that state of consciousness that this is who I am. This is my identity. I'm making myself aware that this is me now, that this computer is mine now. I got the receipt. I saw it. Does that make sense to everyone? There's more than, it's not just when you get something. It is creating the consciousness that's going to pull this thing to you. That's going to show you where it is and how it looks like. What it looks like, you're going to see it, right? Because you're making yourself more aware of it. You're turning the light on. You're making it aware in your mind by saying, oh man, I'm so happy. So when somebody showed you that, they made you aware of it. They did it even before you saw it. So them telling you is not what made it real, but it made it real to you.
So with
Yes.
Amanda's point, how would we fit in appreciation?
I think it's just your own personal thing. Everybody means appreciation and gratitude are subjective to people. They're not absolute definitions. Some people think they mean the same thing. Some people think they mean differently. And it doesn't really matter as much as your intention on how you're using those things. You cannot use appreciation at all. Just use all gratitude if that's what it means to you, or vice versa, or both. And you separate them by this and separate them by that. That does not, the words themselves and the separation does not do anything for you or against you, but it only does based on what it means to you by doing it.
You don't have to stop.
Right? Okay. It just means, what does that mean to you by doing it? When you say, man, I'm so happy, what does it mean? What do you mean when you say what you say? What is your intent? What is your intention? What do you mean? Like
I'm sorry, Coach. I'm sorry, Coach. I disagree. The same way you look at words, I looked at words too.
Mm-hmm.
And the old way of appreciation was a price.
Mm-hmm.
That is the original meaning of the word price.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, we say we're grateful for something, but appreciation, even though we say we appreciate something, we took the definition and put it with thankfulness. The actual hard meaning is price. It is a value.
Mm-hmm. So that is true. That's why you're grateful for something, because it has a value that you appreciate. It's something that you want. It's something that means something to you, right? So that's what thrills you about the thing. Nobody's appreciative for something they don't want or that has no value, right? So the desire is why it's important, because it has the desire is inherent value, right? And the price you pay is the assumption of already being it before it's in your hand. It's the belief to say, whatever I desire when I pray, believe. That's the price you're paying, is the ability to believe without it being in your hand. The ability to say, I am so, without me being able to be grateful for it, without the thing, without being able to express it in my hand. I can't show it to you yet. I can't call my mom and say, look what I got. I don't have it in my hand yet. But because it's so valuable, because it appreciates, because it has a price, right? Because it has a value, right? That is what makes me grateful for it. And I can be grateful after I get it, and I can be grateful looking forward to getting it because of its value. The value excites me. So it is a definition in terms, but it's like a freeway and an off-ramp. Like they're connected, but they get on and get off. They're sections of the same thing, but they're just, one is this way, but they're connected. They're just different parts of something, but they're the same family. And how you use that may be, sometimes we're grateful for something because we know its value. Sometimes we're grateful later because we find out its value. Sometimes, so you can be both at different times and in different orders, depending on what this is. You have your take on it, which is all well and good, whatever.
Oh, no, that's fine. I wrote in the comments, I said, be thankful, which is gratitude, for your price, which is appreciation.
Yes, like I said, I'm not here. I want everybody to get the point and to be able to take it and use it as it best works for you. To your point, which is making sure that we do really understand the meaning of words, and also understanding that words do matter, but they don't justify us. Meaning you can say whatever words you want, but if your intention is the opposite, then you're double-minded. Right? I am wealthy, but your intention, your feeling, what you know yourself to be, is poor. You're not going to get the benefit of that word or that phrase or saying, because your intention is not that. It's juxtaposed, and a double-minded mind is unstable in all its ways. Let it not think it'll receive anything. It's one step forward, two steps backward. Right? So a lot of times, feeling for people really helps people get into the consciousness of being. How would I feel if I got this thing? How does this thing make me feel? That's why we want it. And a lot of times, if you can go to the end, will help you really hone in on your intention. It'll really help you hone in on the consciousness of what this thing is to you. And it'll really help smooth your journey out. Like, just like when, like I said, if Tenny bought him something, he was like, oh my God, I got a computer. And you're sitting down here like, whoa, waiting for Amazon to come. You down there looking on the block, you waiting, you taking days off of work, hoping they gonna come today, just because of the anticipation, how something makes you feel and you don't even have it. And if you can do that, you start to change your consciousness. You start to become aware of being something. And that is like the clicker, so to speak. Right? Okay. I know it's already a little 9:04. Anybody have anything else they want to say or ask or add or anything like that?
Real quick, I wanted to congratulate Amanda on her graduation. She graduated yesterday with her digital marketing certification. Goddess, congratulations. I had to call you out. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yes.
Coach Lucky, I just wanted to say thank you for everything today. This has really been getting me in the proper mature headspace. For one, me going to high school, because for some of y'all know I just started high school, so I have to be in a more like responsible headspace and make more responsible decisions and have a better mindset. And on top of that, I have baseball games going on today, so this has just really got me in that prime time LeBron headspace. Feel me?
Yes, sir.
So I feel like today's gonna be a good day. Today's a good day. So
Yes, sir. Congratulations.
I just want to tell you thank you. You made this day 10 times better. And yeah, everybody here, just whatever you got working on, whatever you got going on, just keep focusing, keep grinding, keep working, believe in what you want to believe in. You are that God. You are a God. For the women, you are goddesses and things of that nature. I love y'all. Y'all just have a great morning, whatever y'all got going on today. And all that being said, God bless.
I love my kids. I have amazing children, y'all.
Yes, you
all
do.
y'all are welcome. I have amazing children. They've been like this. I love my kids.
Yes, and good luck today, Gavin, for sure. Keep doing it, man. Keep doing it. All right, wonderful. Hey, another wonderful Saturday, another wonderful day of learning. Apply it. It doesn't do any good if you just come and show up. There's not a seminar. There's not a sermon. It's not a lecture. Apply it in whatever way has meaning and value to you and that you can understand. Apply it. Prove what is that good and acceptable will of God. What is that acceptable will of your consciousness? Prove you are what you desire to be, what you say you are. You will see it come. But none of this works if you don't approve it. Just sitting around, I know of it. If you can't call Michael Jordan, just don't even say you know him. Just don't do it. You only know of him, right? We want know the information. I want you to become one with whatever you can understand and apply so that you can make it your own and realize who you are, and you can prove that. That's what we're here to prove it, live it, right? So congratulations, another Saturday. Have a great week, a great day, and we'll definitely catch up next week.
Take care, Coach. Take care, everybody.
Take care. Have a good week.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Many thanks, brother. Talk with you soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.